Hello, thanks for tuning in. I've got a good call here for you to listen to. It's Anthony calling in on the 15th of May 2024, talking to Matt Dillahunty. He's called in to say, Matt, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm a theist. I believe that you're wrong. I know all the arguments for God, first cause argument, the resurrection, etc., etc. Something can't come from nothing. But the reason I believe is because I've been having these supernatural experiences. I'm a big fan of yours. I think you're fantastic, but I think you're wrong. So I love these calls, particularly when people say they've had personal experiences and what are they? What else could it be but a God? I like it. Okay, let's listen to Anthony and see what he says, how he presents himself.
But I want to tell you my own personal experience. There was a 2 or 3 year period where God was showing me the supernatural. Now you would think, okay, that's just a claim. You're hallucinating. Maybe you should go, see a psychologist or whatever.
It's always a bad start when somebody makes a claim like that and then they immediately second guess everything that you're going to say. It would be better to say, put down the claim and say, what's your response? So he said, Matt would say that go and see a psychologist. I don't think he'll say that. Say, it's a claim. Well, yes, it's a claim. You're hallucinating. No, I don't think he's going to say that. Matt might say, well, how do you rule out that it's a hallucination? Okay, let's keep going.
These visions and these angels that were appearing that I had other people witnessing. The first time
Now I'd like to say this happened over, he claims it happened over a 2 or 3 year period, not just once, many times, angels, etc. Look, I don't know when it happened. Maybe it happened 40 years ago, before we had these, before we had cameras. Everybody's got a camera. Virtually everybody's got a camera, walking around with a camera. I walk around with this hoping that I'm going to see something unusual happen and I can get my camera out and bang, I've got a photograph of it. And believe me, if I was in this room and Jesus appeared, the first thing I would do is get this out and take a photograph, because I know that nobody would believe me. Let's find out whether he's got any of that kind of evidence.
Seen something. I was in the bedroom, right, and I just had a little fight with my wife. It just shows you how this is God's grace. And I'm about, we've got the covers on me, and all of a sudden this white ball of light appeared in the middle of the room, and there was a man in the center of it. That was the first time, right? And then after that I was seeing things like weekly, and then there was a time. All right, but can I finish this? I just wanted to say one more thing.
Yeah, you see, if he was seeing things weekly, why the hell, if he knows that these things are going to happen time and time again, why doesn't he get himself a camera? Even in the days when we didn't have mobile phone cameras, we had the Kodak Instamatic, didn't we? We could have we had Polaroids and other types of cameras. We could have been ready to get some evidence of this instead of just relying purely on testimony.
Okay.
Okay, now my son, this is when he was like, I don't know, maybe like 13 years old. He's a police officer now, but I was seeing balls of fire in my room, right? So I said, Anthony, come in.
Now he said that the first time he saw it, he was married. He had an argument with his wife. That's the first time this light appeared with a man in the middle, and then he's seeing balls of fire in the room. Did his wife see any of this? Okay, he's now talking about his son.
Side and pray with me. I feel the Holy Spirit. I didn't want to tell him I was seeing anything, because if this was a hallucination, I wanted to know. I wanted to know if am I going crazy or if these things are real. So we're in the room, and I see a ball of fire, and I don't say nothing to him. And then as soon as the ball of fire appears and disappears, he says, Dad, I saw a ball of fire. And I start questioning about it. Where was it? What color was it? And then he explained to me exactly what we both saw. We both saw it. I saw it with my wife at one time, and I saw it with my wife a couple times, actually. And then my son, I saw it one time. Then I'm in the car, right?
Okay, so he's saying that his wife was there. So he's got two witnesses. Sadly, neither of those two witnesses, it looks like, are going to be presented so that we can talk to them. All we've got at the moment is his testimony that this happened and that he's got witnesses. But where are the witnesses?
And I'm not even thinking about God enough, and I'm getting ready to turn on my car. I hear popping noises, and I look over to my right shoulder, and I see these gold particles appear and exploding like little fireworks. So, like, to me, I've seen the supernatural, so it's real, and that goes with my worldview of everything else with Bible predictions that came true. But if this,
Yeah, so as he said, all this is confirming his worldview. He's already preconditioned to believe that this kind of thing is possible. I don't know what he's seeing, and I don't think Matt knows either. But obviously, he believes it's something to do with God. It's being caused by God. I wonder what warrant would he have for believing that?
if this is a hallucination, how are all of us seeing the same thing at the same time? You know, like the disciples, they saw the same thing at the same time.
Well, we don't know that because unfortunately you're not presenting your other witnesses so we can talk to them and cross-examine them about this. All we've got is your word for it. You could be lying. We know that Christians have deliberately lied to get more sheep into the flock, to catch more fish, to catch more souls, and that this has been theologically justified. I'm not saying he is lying, but that's a possibility. Maybe he's had some hallucinations, and he's just simply invented that his son was there, and he may well be making that bit up, or maybe he isn't. I don't know.
You ready?
Hello? Yes. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening.
Sure. So I took all kinds of notes during that. You started by saying you just think I'm wrong. At some point, we might get back to that, so you can tell me what I'm actually wrong about. I don't know how I can be wrong on the God thing, but you say that God's been showing you the supernatural. How do you know that what you witnessed was supernatural?
Well, just like I know everything in this world, you know, life experience. I've seen trees.
I would have put it a different way. I would have said, how do you know what you're claiming you experienced or you claiming that you witnessed? Because we don't know that he actually did witness any of this at all. Even that's just a claim.
People, I've seen airplanes, I've seen animals, I've seen the insect world, and then I've seen something appear from nowhere in my bedroom. And you just, you know, this is not of this world.
Isn't there a phenomenon called ball lightning or something that, you know, this, there is something similar that there could be a natural explanation for this. Okay, he's in a room and it's happening, or at least he's claiming that it's happening. So I don't know, maybe there is some kind of natural explanation, but he's claiming that it's happening frequently every week or something like that. So I don't know. It sounds to me like if he really is experiencing anything like this, if it's happening frequently and regularly, it seems more likely it's some kind of hallucination, some kind of condition that he's got whereby he's experiencing these things repeatedly. As for the other witnesses he's got, I would discount those because he hasn't presented them.
Not there, and all of a sudden...
Anthony, is it possible for somebody to think that something is supernatural and for them to be wrong about it?
Okay, but do you have any other explanations? Because
that's not what
my worldview with
Anthony. I listen to you. I'm asking specific questions. I'm going to get to your constant. Hey, do you have another explanation? I'll get to that in a minute. But the question is it possible for somebody to think that something they experienced was supernatural and for them to be wrong about it?
Yeah, I'm sure that happens all the time, like UFOs, and they don't. It's not a UFO.
I got it. It's just a yes or no question. Second question.
Yes.
How do you tell the difference between when they're right and when they're not right?
Well, if I'm in my room and I'm praying to God, I'm going to use all my experience and all my common sense, and I'm going to make the best decision.
You know, he should have said that this man who appeared in the ball of light was holding a cross. He was holding a cross, and with the other hand, he was doing this. That would have sort of made it a bit more impressive that this is a Christian thing. It wouldn't invalidate what Matt is asking. How do you know that was supernatural? But it would be a little bit more interesting.
Based on what I know. Now, since there's no other explanation of what else it could be, aliens.
Don't get to do that.
But so, what would be the best explanation?
No. So first of all,
let's face it, somebody who's a Christian who believes in the Holy Spirit, the whole shebang, has that kind of experience with a man in the middle of a ball of light repeatedly, is obviously going to believe, especially if it appears after a prayer to Jesus, is obviously going to believe that that is supernatural and that is something which has been caused by God. And I don't think they would have absolute justification in that belief, but one can understand how they would believe it. If I was a Christian and I believed all this and that happened to me, I would most likely believe that as well. But you're starting from a position of already believing, already being preconditioned to believe that if something like that appears, it's going to be caused by the God that you believe in.
Well, I don't give a crap about abductive arguments to the best explanation because we may not know enough. I'm dealing with this raw as a skeptic, and that is, you are claiming that you experience something that is supernatural. If all you mean is you experience something that you don't have a natural explanation for, I'm willing to accept that and we can move on. If you mean that it's actually supernatural, you're going to have to prove that it's supernatural. So
that's a fair point that Matt's making. I would also say to him, where are your witnesses? Can you ask them to call in, because I would like to talk to them. It sounds really interesting. I would like to personally speak to them and cross-examine them to find out how often they saw this, descriptions, and verify that what you're saying is correct. Because without that verification, there's no real need to continue talking to you. All you're doing is making a claim there, and a central point of your claim is that you've got witnesses. There's no need to really waste all this time with him. I would say get him to call back with your witnesses, and we'll take it from there. And then we can move on to arguments from incredulity or ignorance, or how else can you explain that? Or, okay, then we could say, well, even with your witnesses, you still can't make a justifiable claim that this is supernatural. There could still be another explanation. Look, I mean, at Fatima, we've got hundreds of people that apparently saw the sun moving all around the sky. We've got reports, so we know there are possibilities, mass hallucinations and that kind of thing. But we could have cut the conversation short and said, bring on your witnesses first, because he might not be telling the truth. Okay, I think Matt almost made him realize that if all he's going to do, if he's relying entirely on appealing to logical fallacies, then he couldn't possibly confirm that his claim is true. He seemed to make him understand that, but nevertheless, he's clinging to his belief. Let's just see how the call ends.
I understand that, Matt, but I'm just a layman, and I'm just telling you my experience, and I'm going to go away believing what I believe in. And what are you going to take from this? You're going to just take that as something that happened? Wait a minute. Or
you said you're going to go away believing what you believe. So you're going to end this conversation believing exactly what you believed at the beginning, no matter what I say, right?
Yeah, I think if God shows you the supernatural and you see it.
Goodbye. I don't need to talk to you. Anybody who's going to come in here and say, I believe in God, I believe in the supernatural, I believe I've had these experiences, I believe God's showing me this, and every single question I ask about how you determine that it's God, how you determine that it's supernatural, you argue with the fallacy, and you're like, but what other explanation is there? I'm about to get to your question.
Okay, I think Matt's made his point. If you come onto the show preconditioned to say that regardless of the substance of the conversation that we have, I am going to go away believing exactly what I believe. Even if I'm proven wrong, I'm still going to go away believing exactly what I started off believing at the beginning of the conversation. It's sort of like bad faith to call in and have this discussion. You might as well not be listening to what Matt is saying if you're going to go away believing, if you're preconditioned to going away believing exactly what you started off with, regardless of being proven wrong, or at least it being demonstrated that you're relying on logical fallacies and you've got no good rational reason to believe in what you're claiming. Okay, so he came on saying he's a big fan of Matt. I don't know, is he still a big fan of Matt? Maybe not anymore. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.